Sam, how are we?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. It's good to be back. It's been a while for me, but glad to have you as my first guest back for a while.
Thank you, I'm glad to be on the podcast.
How's everything? How's good to be back in Adelaide?
Yeah, it's very good to be back home where everything started and the kindness mission all began. So.
Yeah, I didn't realise you were from Adelaide. I just had this weird view that you were like from Sydney or Melbourne, just because
No.
you have that
That drive,
that go-getter vibe.
something a little
which is
bit
rare
more
here.
than Adelaide.
Yeah, no offense, but
No offense to anyone starting, but
no, look, we have bright lights here in Adelaide. I always say one of the biggest issues here is that people who do want to have that mentality seem to get kind of squished. So
yeah, I found that too. I found it was very toxic to start as a creator in Adelaide, and there wasn't much support around it. So I think that's why a lot of creators do move to Melbourne or to those areas, because it can be very hard.
So yeah, let's get into that. How did you actually start your journey? So was there a moment where you realized like, oh, this is what I want to do, or did you just like randomly stumble into it? Like, how did this happen?
Yep. So at the age of 8 years old, I would have been maybe closer. I think 9. At the age of
wow.
9 years old, I was just having a normal day, sitting in the lounge room, and answered a call from my uncle. Firstly, and he was just screaming and crying and bawling his eyes out, saying, "Put your mum on the phone." Like the most pain I've ever heard in someone's voice. And my auntie committed suicide and was found dead in the bathroom. So my mum went off, and yeah, it really shattered me growing up, gave me a lot of PTSD about mental health. I grew up with depression. I was also had a speech impediment, so I wasn't supposed to talk in my life at all.
Oh wow.
And I overcame that, went through lots of speech therapy, and now my thing is just using my voice to make a difference to the world, because I didn't think I could have one. So to have one, it's such a beautiful and it's such a powerful thing. Like a voice can be so strong and powerful to make a difference. And then, yeah, just growing up, I always had the drive to want to do something or be someone more, I guess, like rather than a 9-to-5 job or lifestyle. I wanted to make my dreams a reality, and I just fell in love with content creating. And I just knew kind of, yeah, like one day I just went out and spread it an act of kindness, and it just felt so good and rewarding, and I never stopped. So
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. So let's start with obviously you had a traumatic experience at 9 years old. So that would have been very intense for you.
yes.
And death for a lot of people, especially when you're young. When you think about death, I remember personally, like, you think about your own parents, like, wow, like one day I'm not going to be with my parents. Like, this is like, it's very overwhelming. What impact did that leave? Do you think that, like, did it leave you with a survival, like, I need to do more kind of aspect? Like, what did it actually instill into you? Like, what did that death of your auntie do for you directly?
It definitely broke me at first.
Yeah.
Like seeing the pain it could create to other people when someone makes a decision to end their life. It isn't. Some people struggle so much, but it will never help. Like anyone, like it can leave so much pain for others around you, and people don't realize that. I don't think the implications it can have, to be affected 11 years later daily by it can be huge for someone, the effects it can have. So it definitely broke me a lot, but it gave me a different outlook to life, and like life is so short, and yeah.
Wow. So did at being 9, did you kind of understand what was happening? Like, was it really like, whoa, like this is strange, or were you kind of just watching everyone else's reactions and kind of like realizing the significance of this moment? Because I mean, at 9, you don't really know too much about the world, do you? Like,
No.
you're still kind of like, you're just a child. So what was, like, if you want to go back, pretend you're 9 years old again, and was it just the witnessing of everyone else's reactions, or did you know in your own heart that this is what death is like for you? Like,
I think it was just the pain in my uncle's voice just was something I've never heard before, not even to this day again.
oh wow,
Something I've never heard that pain from anyone I've ever met or encountered. that pain in someone's voice of literally walking in and seeing their like fiance dead. And yeah, like calling my mum, but I picked up at 9.
Yeah.
Like it shattered me for sure. And like every day it would definitely, I used to sit up at night and bawl my eyes out about death because it just affected me so much. I didn't understand what death was, or I didn't understand what actually happened. But growing up, that thought never went away, I guess, and I would think about it nightly.
Yeah. So moving forward, like you mentioned, because there's a lot to unpack in that, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it gave you anxiety and depression. So like personally, I've dealt with those. I've dealt with anxiety. I wouldn't say so much depression. Maybe unconsciously, yes. Maybe I had depression, but didn't want to admit to it. Just like live my life, kind of ignoring it. What did you do to deal with that? Like, what strategies? Like, if you're looking out to the audience now, like, or just to whoever's listening, what were your takeaways? Like, what did you learn and get out of it, and how did you stay strong in those moments when you were like at 9 years old and moving onwards?
Well, moving onwards in school, I was made fun of a lot and bullied a lot, but I'm trying to find the right way to term this. I used my coping mechanism of having depression to actually help other people and stand up for kids at school. You know, kids who were bullied, I'd be the one who would stand up and get more bullied. But that was something that actually helped me, was just to put myself there for others and be there for others, even though I was struggling myself. And it kind of cured my depression over time.
Okay, so you took on like the savior.
Like why I do what I do today, like if I didn't do what I do today, I wouldn't be here.
Okay,
like
so it was really what built you. Like it
it's
held
what
you together.
built me for sure. Like I would not be here without what I do today, or the people I help and the encounters I've had. Like it was a life-saving moment to actually be able to have social media as an outlook and as an outreach, and it's such a positive thing to have, and there's so many negatives out there on social media, but like yeah, it was life-saving, I think, having that platform to be able to outreach.
So how'd you get into the social media part of things? Like, were you just like randomly like one day, I'll just post something and see how it goes? Or was it there's Instagram, TikTok, Snap? Like, what was the app that got you intrigued?
It was, I think, more watching YouTube growing up. I always used to live my life to the fullest and seek that every day. I was a kid who, when I was 14, I worked a job for 15 months, didn't spend 1 cent, and then flew my sister to Disneyland for her birthday.
Oh, wow.
So I always had that drive from a young age to make my dreams come true. At 16, I got cheated on, and 3 months later, I got cheated on. I was broke. I was depressed, and 3 months later, I was standing in Times Square in New York City with like $10,000 to spend on a holiday, all because I had that drive to want to make my dreams come true from a young age. And that's why I knew I would be successful one day, and that's why I knew when I started social media, I was made fun of, bullied so much, but I always knew there was something bigger.
Yeah.
And it had to start somewhere. So like to anyone out there, like there's never a better time to like start creating or start being yourself than now, because no matter what you do in your life, people will bring you down. Like you could be doing anything and they're still going to bring you down. It takes strength to put yourself out there. But if you can't create that strength from somewhere, then you're going to live your life kind of miserable. Like you need to like go out there, and I know there's so much anxieties and everything, but it will resolve itself, because if you have that drive, you will always be successful. And I truly believe that to anyone who wants to start content creating. Like if you just keep going, you will become successful. I used to watch YouTube. So like the reason I got into what I do is yes theory, like seek
Yeah, yes,
discomfort
theory, yeah.
every day. And they inspired me massively to just be myself, but know there's a greater adventure to life than just like, like life doesn't begin till you step outside that comfort zone, and it never. From a young age, think I was always outside my comfort zone with anything I did, and that's why I got bullied, because I was different.
So few things there. One, what was the first social media platform you started producing content on? And two, I feel like there's a spark or something inside you, like there's something about you that you have like the it factor.
Mm.
Do you think that's something you just always had, or something you developed, only developed after that traumatic nine when you were 9 years old, or do you think you even had that early, like was something inside you, like that you felt like you wanted to unleash into the world?
I think so. I started on uploading on TikTok because it's such a great way to get your message out there. Like, it is the best social media platform, I believe, for starting off as a creator. If you want to put yourself out there and have a big reach of a lot of people, like, it's definitely not the best for a fan base, or for a lot of reasons, it's not a great app to me, but it is a great app to put yourself out there and reach a large audience.
Like a big billboard.
Like a big billboard. Yeah. It's the best app there is for marketing, for business, for anything you want to do. It TikTok is better than any other platform, I believe. What was
And second one was like, did you always have this like like this spark in you, or did it develop after your traumatic experience, or did that unleash it? But even like thinking, if you could think even younger, like, was it like, I feel, because I have a similar story out to you. Like, I was always the kid at school who was like out there, would say like the crazy things, but have fun, be outrageous, like, like try and be the savior, help kids that get bullied, or not necessarily do what all the popular kids wanted me to do. But that was like something I felt like, for me, it was survival. Actually, that's actually the first time I've ever thought of that. The way you said it, was like, actually, I was trying to survive. So was it? But I always had it. It was weird. Like, I always had this like inner desire to strive for something. But
I think it was always in me as a person, but the struggles I went through made me stronger.
Yeah.
And made my story more, like, I don't know, I think like everything happens for a reason. I think my auntie like killed herself for a reason. Like, that reason has been able to help more people than just her.
Yeah.
So I think I've always had it, but I think using your struggle and turning it into a story is one of the most beautiful things you can do, because you can let a situation break you, or you can let it, what was I going to say?
You let it break you or make you, I guess.
Yeah, you can let a situation break you, or you can literally make it who you are. Like,
so yeah, look, everything you're saying, you're preaching to the choir. Like, I love everything you're saying. I love, but the barriers I've come across when trying to share this message is that there's people out there who genuinely believe that, like, they have like almost like a victim. I call it a victim mindset, and I'm quite facetious against this stuff, because I've been through a lot of myself in terms of that, where I want people to understand that no matter what you do, you can succeed if you put your heart into it, you put your mind to all your actions, no matter where you're from, who you are. But there's a strong community out there who believe that if you're A, B, C, D, E, there's no way you'll succeed. Like, you're stuck. How have you ever come across that friction in your own career, or like your journey of social media? People like had it being like, oh, what the hell, Sam? Like, your message is fake. Like, I'm never gonna be that, because like, how do you deal with that? If you have dealt with it, how do you deal with that?
I do. I deal with hate comments daily, people asking for help, and if I'm not able to, like, I'll receive a lot of abuse. But I always think that to sit on your phone and leave someone a hate comment, you have to feel sorry for them. Like, they are going through something.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at everyone and all the hate going on in the world. That, yeah, they are truly going through something, and I feel fucking sorry for those people who can sit on their phones and hate on someone.
Yeah.
Because in reality, all through school, kids would do the same or say to my face awful things, yet never asking me, how can I become successful? How can I start my social media? Can I have a shout out? Hey, I need help paying my rent. So like people will switch up when you're successful. So I think it's just, yeah.
So it's just suffering. You go, oh, they're suffering. So you don't make it about you make it about them. You're like, oh, these guys are just suffering. It's not personal to me. And I just need, and you kind of show them remorse almost. Like, because, even if they say the worst things.
Yeah, they have time to sit on their fucking phone and leave a comment about something I'm trying to just put good out into the world. Like, I look at everything I've done in my life and I don't give a fuck what people say, because I know that I made a positive impact on everyone I've helped. Like, to be able to take Alex to meet Travis Barker and him tell me it's the best night of my life, and then he unfortunately passed away a month later, to know there's that effect on people. I'm not going to cause a negative effect on people that bad that they're going to hurt themselves over watching an act of kindness, am I? So,
yeah,
you know, I always will turn the hate comments back on them and feel truly sorry for them. And in many situations, I have responded and I'll tell them I feel sorry for them. Like, go do something better. Like,
yeah. So because you see such a direct impact with the work you do.
I see such a direct impact that I think all the hate that someone gives someone else for truly is because they're doing better than them. Because, yeah, they have the time to sit on their phones and hate on someone. So they have so much spare time while they could just be out there creating and trying to become successful.
It's kind of like what happened to Mr. Beast with his like curing blindness and curing people being deaf and stuff. Like he got like almost like basically cancelled, the cancel culture or whatever, for doing that. And I watched that video. I thought it was like one of the best videos I've ever watched. And then seeing the backlash, I'm like, what is this?
You'll always be hated on for making a positive effect on other people. And that's simply what's wrong with society, is so many people will complain about the issues, but a lot of them will be the same people to comment hate on a video which they know nothing about this person at all. They don't know what they've been through. They don't know their story. It's like heartbreaking.
So what's like your ultimate goal then in regards to like hearing out, because your message is quite powerful, right? You have a powerful message, and people who are suffering, and I agree, will lash out on social media, and they've done it to me. They've done it to you a lot. Obviously, you're on public eye a lot, so you must cop a lot of hate, which is normal for anyone who gets into social media. That's part of the job, right? You could legit walk on water, and they'll say something bad about you. What would be your ultimate dream? Like, if you had a magic wand, what would you want to do with your message?
I'm trying to set up what I do as a non-for-profit charity. Okay. It's in the works because I want to earn $80,000 a year at most, because every other dollar I want to help someone else with. I would never drive a fancy car. I catch a public tram everywhere I go, a bus. I don't drive. I don't have my license. Half my shirts have holes in them because I live every day to help someone else, and there's so many more people doing it tough. Like, most of my shoes are donated. This shirt has holes in it. Like, I just want to be able to, every opportunity I get, help someone else and see where that leads me. So I want to... I have plans to go to Uganda and help kids over there, and hopefully even build schools and orphanages, and just trying to make it more of a movement through, I guess, charity, because there's too many charities out there that are just corrupt as hell, putting 2% back in and paying everyone else, and the CEOs on $1 million a year. I'll take 70 grand, or I'll take minimum wage as long as I can help people.
Yeah.
You know, I like to live my life every day to help someone else, and, you know, I'll continue to do so. I work like every day just because I have a bigger picture in mind, you know, and it's hard to, you know, like not being monetized on these platforms at all. It's really hard to be able to look after myself and help other people, but I see that as a strength, that it's not easy. You know, it truly isn't easy. Yeah.
So there's other young people out there, or anyone actually, any age out there, who love what you're doing and kind of want to follow a similar path. Like they want to just give and then make content around it as well, so it can like share with the rest of the world, so other people can be inspired or witness the beauty in giving. How did you develop it? Like, what was the, like, for all the business people out there, like, how do you raise the funds to do what you do? Like, is it all self-raised, or do you raise money through charity, like fundraising? Do you have to get sponsorships? Like, how does that side of the business work? Because
it's live streams is what funds most of my videos, as well as, like, rarely on a live stream I'll say, hey, I'm going to take 50% of this live to support myself if I need to. Yep. But I'm only going to do that if I don't have money in the account to eat that week or something. So a lot of it is live stream fundraising, brand deals as well, is how I'll be able to generate income for myself, because I never want to take other people's money in a sense, because I'm not like that, I guess. So I just think if you put out good quality content of helping people, you will get rewarded in bigger ways, and the universe is going to repay you 1,000,000 times more.
Okay, so that's great. You said the universe, right? So where does that come from, that belief? Because like, from what I understand, philosophically speaking, there's some people believe there's like, you have a relationship with the universe. Some people call it God. Some people call it divine spirit, whatever they want to call it. There's different names for it, different cultures. Yeah. Do you, but like karma, for example, like you put good karma out there, you receive good karma. If you put bad karma out there, where did that come from for you? Is that a natural thing that you've embraced?
Well, I am Christian. I believe in God, and I think what I do is like God's work, but I would never push religion onto anyone. I think it's more a way of, I could just show God through what I do, but I don't need to actively tell people about God or rub it in their face. And that's what I hate about religion, is the fact someone can tell you you're going to hell or something, know nothing about you. And we had that yesterday when I shaved my hair for cancer. Someone walked up and just yelled, "You're going to hell." And you're doing the devil's work for looking at what I was literally out there putting God's message through a more powerful way than you are rubbing a sign in your face saying you're going to hell if you don't repent. It's more powerful to help someone and show God through that without even mentioning God.
So going into what happened yesterday. So basically, guys, like Sam just said, Sam was doing the charity event. I won't say too much, let Sam talk about it. And then we had these guys with signs and trying to sit in the chair and like just do all this crazy stuff, yelling out at us. And I've got a theory that these guys are actually paid off by like some satanic entity to like make people hate religion even more, because it's the perfect marketing strategy. Like, I just have a deep belief that these guys aren't legit Christians. Yeah, I reckon like they're legit, like kind of like.
Because it makes you turn away from God or religion if someone's trying to shove something down your throat. Why not be a good person? And I feel like that's so much more, like, as being a Christian or being religious, is you genuinely living every day to be a good person and help others. And you can show your religion through that. You know, your actions, like, do speak louder than words.
There's like some of the most fantastic, most powerful people I know are like religious, but you'd never know unless you really ask them. And some people, like, it's really private to themselves. And then you got others that kind of use it as this like virtual signal, like, I'm better than you because I'm Christian or I'm Islamic or whatever. Like that's their like, I'm better than you. which is like a really odd way to live spiritually.
Mm.
But yeah, that was interesting, and that's the conspiracy theory I have. I reckon they're satanically paid off and psyoped to make people hate Christianity even more.
Yeah, well, I believe in that conspiracy theory,
Right,
to
could
be
be true.
honest, yes.
So let's go into that
Yes.
event actually. So why did you shave your head basically? I'm not sure if you want to show the camera.
Yeah,
It's
sure. This is it here, full on bald. So I shaved my head for Alex, who passed away at 13 to cancer. I took him to meet Travis Barker. I guess we'll get a bit into that experience. So Alex was fortunate enough to be able to meet his lifelong idol, Travis, backstage at the show in Arizona. So
That's wild. And so what was the brains behind the operation, and why did you do it in Adelaide? Why did you choose Adelaide as the place to do it? Why not like Sydney, Melbourne? And how do you normally go about doing something like that?
I love coming back to my grassroots. I think, being able to become such a influential and large creator who started in Adelaide is such a powerful thing to me. Just, growing up in a normal hometown and living in a fairly small city, it's amazing because a lot of people do message me about, I want to get into creating in Adelaide, but I don't feel supported. I feel like I'll be made fun of. There's so much of that going around. So I just wanted to come back to, where it all started and, have my amazing friends around me who most of them shaved their hair as well.
So you got that almost like hip hop Kendrick Lamar, like you're Compton.
Pretty cool though to see my friends also shave their hair for someone they didn't know personally. Is pretty powerful. Like, yeah, it's a beautiful
Were you
thing.
worried about getting your head shaved? Like, was it something you were kind of anxious about, or like did you have second thoughts at all, or were you just like, I'm just going?
Nah, it's one of the best decisions I've made because I did it for all those out there who don't have a choice, but I did. I do all of it for the kids who are fighting cancer out there, who know someone who has lost their life to cancer. I do it for them. So I see every day of my life as an opportunity to do something for someone else, and I'll never stop doing that as long as it doesn't hurt me, in any way. I just want to, bless people to the full extent I can every day.
You obviously have a big influence on TikTok, big influence on Instagram, which is good because it's very hard for TikTokers to translate their followers to Instagram. Because Instagram, typically in the social media, we believe Instagram is a more powerful platform in terms of...
Definitely the most powerful
and
platform, yeah.
But the way you've done it, is there like a secret to your translation? Like, how did you, for people out there who are also TikTokers with big followings, but they can't seem to translate to Instagram, do you have tips for them on how you did that? Because I think that'd be a very powerful thing to hear, especially for those who want to do stuff like you're doing, or they're doing their own content.
I think if it works on one app, it's clear evidence. Why can't it work on the other? You're obviously not posting enough. Like if one app has taken off, the other will eventually, and it will always reward you. I've seen constant growth ever since because every day I put out better content than the last video. Like, I believe every video has to be better than the last video, which is now why I started with $0 and now I'm giving away a couple $1,000 a video. Or everything I do costs a couple $1,000. Even shaving my hair, everything behind the scenes are coming here, and so I just think, just keep putting out quality content and keep being yourself, because the world will fall in love with you if you have a drive to never give up.
Do you worry about times you post, or like how you post, like not deleting, not editing captions and that kind of stuff? Or you just put it out there and see how it goes?
I just put it out there and see how it goes, because at the end of the day, I'm not really in it for any of that materialistic stuff. I'm in it for the impact behind it. I want it to reach people for the impact it can create to people. You know, I believe every video makes a difference on this world because it has a ripple effect. The things you do in your life will travel around the whole world and hit everyone. You know, one small act of kindness can make a ripple effect, which is why it's such a powerful thing. It's not the act of kindness, it's where does it go from there. The people who, give a stranger $500 in a supermarket and they help others and they make 20 people's days, and then it can make so many more. You know, people pass it on. It's just a ripple effect. It's really.
So you're a young guy, right? And you mentioned before, like, you're perfectly happy with this 70, 80K, whatever, just because you want to use as much of the money as possible to, do what you do. But there seems like, you mentioned before you're Christian, there's something inside. Like, I feel like you'd be a good father. I don't know, it's a weird compliment, but I think like you'd be a good father. Like, do you want to have a family one day? And facilitating family can, it costs a little bit of money. Would you be willing to transform your views on that and sustain a family structure, like have a house of yourself, and then continue what you're doing? Is that something you're interested in, or are you just on a crusade where this is just you and your partner and that's it?
I think so. I definitely want to have a family, and I know I will be rewarded at the end of the day for what I do. Not that I do it for that reason, but I do deserve to look after myself, and I should a lot more than I do. But yeah, I definitely would love to have a family. All these kids I help, I fall in love with them. Like Alex, I was crying for days, like bawling my eyes out, because it does affect me. What I do is so mentally challenging at times. Like, people don't see the back end, and it can be a struggle,
What do you do to deal with this? You're seeing so much traumatic stuff a lot of the time, because a lot of the work you do is with people who are ill or
yeah. People tell me, so many people say I couldn't do that. I couldn't, even influencers and people on social media, because it is. But I just look at it as these people, who are going through so much. I look at it as they do need the support and love, and no one really gets that from a complete stranger. And it breaks my heart as a society that we don't give a shit about a stranger on the street. When has a stranger came up and asked you, how are you doing, or are you feeling okay, or do you want a coffee, or we don't interact as strangers at all in a public setting. In the mall, we're just there to do something and ignore everyone else. And I don't like that about the world.
Almost. Everyone's tunneled.
Everyone has tunnel
Especially
vision.
now, it's even worse, social media. Because back in the day, it's like you talk to your neighbour, you hang out. You're not on your phone all the time, so you can't.
Oh, and COVID-19 ruined the world as a society completely. I was standing in the mall hugging strangers during COVID, because I knew that with one COVID case in the whole of Australia, Mohug's going to do more than that. Mohug's going to save more lives than that disease will ever kill. And the whole COVID was bigger for people's mental health than the flu or whatever you could call it itself.
I've allegedly heard that even the second lockdown we tried to have, I think it was something like 50 suicides that one night, and then the next day they got rid of it. But just quickly, just say that for people out there who are listening, going, "Oh, how does a hug make a difference?" That's a load of crap. I'll tell you a great story. I want to share a story with you as well. So I was at my last year at university studying geoscience. And the last thing you do is you go on an excursion for 2 weeks up in the Flinders Ranges, and you go look at rocks, and you measure the angles of the beds and rocks, and you map it out. And so I rock up. There's a workshop before we go for this 2-week trip, and I rock up and I go sit down, and there's this guy sitting across from me. He's just there, looks really quiet and shy. He's from Afghanistan, so he had didn't look like a typical Aussie style. You'd obviously tell he was from a different place. And even the way he spoke, he was English was his second language too. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So I just look at him and smile like this. like that, and just smile at him, and he smiles back, and then we just start talking. And we start talking. I get these stories from Afghanistan. His family moved here. He wants to be a geologist. He wants to work in the mines to support his family. I'm like, cool. So anyways, I walk away. Don't even think about it. 2 weeks later, we go on the trip. And we've done the trip's amazing. We're out hiking in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful bushland. And then he, on the last day, he turns to me and he's like, George, I just want to tell you something. You can go for a walk. I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, so he sits me down and he goes, you know that day at the workshop when you looked at me and smiled? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, that, like, I wasn't going to come on this excursion. I wasn't going to come on the trip. And if you don't go on the trip, you can't get your degree. You have to do this to finish your degree. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I just was so nervous. I don't have any friends. I don't talk to anyone. But when he smiled and talked to me, I decided I was going to come on the trip. I wasn't going to go. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, wow.
And the reason I'm sharing this story is not because, I'm such a good guy, but at that moment I realized even a smile and a small gesture of being nice to someone can legit change their life when they might not have a degree to they're having a degree. Like, their education can come onto a smile. Like, that's how small a smile is. A smile is not that big deal, but that's the impact it can have. And then I realized after that, I was like, holy shit, like, I need to start smiling at more people and start being nicer, because who knows, like, the impact you truly have on people out in the world, especially just strangers. Like, I don't know this. Never met this guy. Ahmed, by the way, shout out. You're a good guy. But, I realized, you're right. Like, small acts of kindness can legit do huge changes.
Yeah, I had someone who hugged me message me and say, if it wasn't for the hug today, I would have killed myself tonight. You literally saved me. And I know, like my auntie would be so proud of me because of that, because a hug can be life-saving. And if I hug 1 million people, but I get one message saying, you've saved my life, that's,
Yeah,
enough.
I think people need to know that. I think people really need to know that, like, small acts of kindness can legit save lives. Like, people really don't understand that. I think people...
Which is why I'll always go back to that as a creator. No matter how much money is invested in a video, you will see me hand out a bunch of flowers. Because I do want to prove to people that materialistic things, like me giving money, I find it very hard to do. Because I'd rather give someone an experience, or, give someone money if they truly need it and it can make a big effect. But me giving money to an ordinary person isn't... I find a small act of kindness to be more genuine.
And how do you... We were talking about it a bit before the podcast. Like, how do you deal with people who... like, either take advantage of you or aren't, like, for what you're doing? Like, even like you were talking about...
I'll go with something. There's something I want to talk about.
Yeah, go ahead. Go right ahead.
So there's one quote that I think sums up what I do. And I actually found out about this. It was a God-given miracle, this situation. I was in Los Angeles. I wanted to help a family who was experiencing homelessness, and I got told a quote from a family. A family reached out, a lady who runs, brown bag lady who runs a charity in like Skid Row in Los Angeles, reached out, and she also told me a quote which says, nobody made a greater mistake than he who gave nothing because he had little. And I live my life by that. At many times I've had $0 in or $1 in my pocket, but I'll give away that dollar because literally you don't know the effect that can have and the ripple effect it can come back to you. And I asked a man, she found someone who she was going to meet him in the car park. I approached him and I said, hey, like, I'm doing it tough. Do you, could you help me? He has $7 in his wallet and gives me every dollar. And that's why this quote at this time, nobody made a greater mistake than he who gave nothing because he had little. He gave me $7 and told me his family was sleeping out of their car. That $7 in 3 weeks turned into $100,000 for him. So that shows that He gave everything out of his wallet when he had nothing, but look what happened. So $100,000, they're no longer homeless at all. They have an apartment in Los Angeles they rent. They've had, yeah,
Far out.
which is crazy. One of my coolest stories, he gave $7 and the internet raised him over $100,000,
Far out.
which is really
It's
cool.
insane to think the power. That's one of the beautiful things about social media. It really does have a way to just bring people together. And that's the hard thing about social media. Like, it's got all these toxic things, but all these amazing positive things. Like, you'll never be able to do before properly. What other highlights have you had in terms of, like, especially early on? What were, like, the key takeaways you had, and then what most recently? What were the highlights you've had in your journey, in your career so far?
I think just I really loved, I guess, starting that whole like hugging trend on social media. So for most people who don't know, it's hard being a kindness creator. I genuinely started this whole trend on TikTok. Like, I genuinely was the first person to spread acts of kindness. And you can look back at every other creator, and I was the first one to start this trend. And many creators jumped on board after. One who today met up with me in Sydney. He used to study here. He is now 4 million Instagram followers. He is huge for being a mental health creator. Yet, what people don't know, and I'll openly chat about this because it's fucking horrendous, is he came to Sydney. He came to Adelaide. He came to Adelaide because he said, "Hey, can I do the same video as you? I'd love to meet you." And I said, "No worries." He flew to Adelaide. He stood there with a sign, hugging people, but then mocked me. And I was like, he'd mock me a little bit, be like, "Yeah, well, I'm doing what you do now." And then over time, he would copy everything I've done. And as my acts of kindness got bigger, or his acts of kindness got bigger, so did mine. So practically, he told everyone that I was copying him and that I am disingenuous as a human and what I do is awful and I should stop. And then he blocked me. So that is one of the things that is awful, is that there is a lot of people, his name's MD Motivator,
Yeah.
I'm willing to
Yeah,
chat
why not?
about it because I find that horrendous that if you're literally in this for any other reason than to help the person you're helping, you're not genuine. If you care about a follower count, if you care about a video you copy, like someone cares about a video that you copy, like who gives a shit? It's out there to make a positive effect for someone else. So if you care anything else, like about any benefits you get from this, you're not genuine
Like a charlatan.
at all. Like, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. None of that matters. It's all materialistic. All that matters is the impact that you make to the person you help. And he blocked me after I took Alex to meet Travis Barker because he was jealous. And that is so disgusting because I literally am just out there to bless someone. And I inspired him. He copied me, mocked me, made fun of me, turned it around on me and blocked me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So like, it's really sad that there is a lot of creators out there doing this kind of stuff and they are not
You know what's
genuine.
crazy to think though, right? Like, playing devil's advocate here, even though like it's obviously a shitty situation, because you've inspired a whole new generation of content. Even if you've got those evil bastards out there doing it.
Oh, but that guy has more followers than me
Yeah,
and I'm
yep.
winning.
Well-
I'm winning in the fact that what I do is genuine. He can grow 10 million followers on me, but you can't tell me, oh, he does better stuff than you when no, because it's not genuine at all. So how is it actually kindness when he's in it for materialistic things or,
Yeah, for fame.
you know, like it's actually better.
But even Taoistically speaking, like, this is getting real philosophical here, right? Even if he is like an evil guy, and I'll take your word for it, right? You still somehow like create a domino effect where you're making bad people do good things. which is really fascinating to think about.
Yeah,
You know
very
what I mean? Like,
fascinating, isn't it?
Because
Yeah.
that's the whole point of your power, right? It feels like you generally are doing this because it's reaching into your soul and you're getting something out of it, and also you'll get to help a lot of people, and it's so powerful that it even makes bad people do good things. Like how weird is it? Like how powerful is that? Like that's like the ultimate power.
Yeah.
It's like you're
Yeah.
like if you
very
like if it was
powerful.
Marvel, you're like if you were like Thor or whatever, you're so powerful and so good that it somehow makes Thanos to start doing good things because he's trying to outdo you.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect
Yeah.
scenario though. Like it's the
Yeah.
ultimate superhero,
Yeah,
really,
wow.
if you think about it.
It is.
You really
Yeah,
like.
it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best thing. That's what I would want. Like if I was like a king of like a kingdom, I mean, we'll go medieval, and I was doing really well for my people. I'd rather the other king watch me who hates my guts do good for his people because he's jealous of how good I'm doing for my people, than the king get spiteful and start killing his own people just out of spite because of me. I think that's a really big. Like I think that.
I think, one in that situation, and that's a very powerful point, that what I do can have an effect on bad people.
Like I've never heard of that. I've never heard of a situation where you do such good work that it forces bad people to do good work, even if they're not good people themselves. Like
Yeah.
you're the first.
Wow.
That's a first step. It is.
First,
Like
wow.
think about it.
Yeah.
And I mean, but that's good because some people might be scared to be kind because like people at the end of the day, they want to have social media. They want to like feel important. Like everyone wants to feel important. Let's be honest, right? We're all humans. We've all got these little like weird things about us. And some people might be scared to be kind. And no worries. Go ahead. Some people just want to like create content and do what you do, but they're too scared. Oh, I've got like 100 followers. Why do I even bother? If you can get heaps of people, even like 1,000 people doing that from watching your content, and that's 1,000 more people doing good, even if they're not necessarily good or they're in it for the wrong reasons. And if everyone did that, then like it's weird. You're like kind of avoiding evil or avoiding bad, but you're like converting evil into good, because that's what the devil or like spiritually, the evil people want you good people to do bad things. So you're like the counter. You know, like you're countering it. It's kind of, it's really. I've never even thought about this before, but it's. I hope that. I mean, I hope that means something to you, because I could see that there's a lot of pain. Like you feel like you've been betrayed by this person. Like you let into your realm. You helped out. You did videos together, and then they just like backstabbed you. Like it's. Cause I'm telling you right now, it's happened to me so many times. Like I've lost count. Like I've had over 60 people work for me, and I've had so many people do some horrible things to me. And you can get dark. Like I got dark, like spiteful. Like, oh, screw these guys. And eventually, I had to like really just let go because it was destroying me. Like, do you ever feel like this guy could like get in the way of your journey in like in some sort of way? If you like, he's blocked you. He's done all this, like he used you.
I think so. Like I don't want it to feel like I'm in his shadow. My work's in his shadow because of like him literally copying everything I do. Like it's really heartbreaking. And the way I looked at it was he took a adult who lost their job to meet someone from Blink 182. I took a 13-year-old fighting cancer whose biggest dream, he was a drummer his whole life, to meet his idol. That's why I see what I do as more powerful, is finding and taking the time and the effort out of my day. Why I do what I do is so more powerful than people see. And what I mean by that is I will film a 10-minute video, as in I took 24K golden to meet a family at their home. But I spent 8 hours at their home playing basketball with the kids when I could have been doing anything else in California or going on a holiday or, you know, but instead I want to invest time into these families, and I do get connected, but so much of what I do is off camera. Like I don't necessarily believe in filming good for social media or filming kindness on social media, but it's hard to not raise awareness without doing it.
And also, but the podcast, like when I launched my podcast, I was pretty proud. Like about like 3,000 to 5,000 people listening. So I was like, oh, but that's kind of my like my audience may not be big, but my whole focus on my audience has been like I want them to know me for me. Like they've watched me grow up my whole life. Like they've been through all. Like I've done some crazy stuff on my social media, like some crazy ass stuff. Like they've seen me through everything, and my audience knows exactly where I stand. Like I haven't been a puppet at all. Like I've legit just being me, so raw and authentic, and even when at my flaws, everything I get out there. So to me, my 80,000 or I got like 100,000+ followers across all platforms. I would say the majority of them know me. Like they know me, and like they would like go to war for me if I asked to call up arms. I feel like they would be there for me in that, which is cool. And obviously the more the better. But like this is a journey for life for me. It's not like I don't need to have 10 million followers next week. If I get 10 million followers by the end of my life, then I'm just happy I got to meet 10 million people who like me for who I am authentically and keep doing that. But yeah, it's just about, like I've never sold anything or I'm talking about the walks, right? The walks are probably like the most charitable thing I've ever done. Yeah. And like, to be honest, like, yeah, I did it for charity, but I did it for myself as well. Like I wanted to push myself and see how far I could push myself spiritually, mentally, physically. Like I want to know, what am I made of? Can I do it? If the world ended tomorrow, could I like walk 10 days to another town to go save someone? Like, could I do these things? And I got to prove that to myself. That was the coolest thing about it.
I think you should always still, like, with what I do always have a reason. Like, of course, for all the people I help, but I do have reasons for myself, and that those reasons are just to prove to anyone who has disliked me, hated on me, laughed at me at all. Like so many, my best friends tell me kids at school used to laugh in class at my TikToks and Instagram reels when I started and laugh at me and make fun of me. And now they're working at McDonald's or a 9-to-5 job they hate. So I just want to prove to them that like I do kind of want to rub it in a little bit. Because if you give shit to someone who's trying to do good in the world, you have a problem in this situation and you will never benefit from that.
Yeah, that's another important thing, right? People think, like, I mean, there'll be people out there who watch this, and they're probably young, and they go, oh, Sam is just a good guy, there's nothing bad about him. There's nothing wrong with Sam. But people really realize every human has something dark inside them. There's always a monster in all of us. And if you don't understand that, you don't realize that there's something inside you, it will start to control you. And I think that's what all these people who are on there giving you hate, I reckon they think they're like the most perfect like people in the world. They're like oh, like I'm the best. Like I care about people, but they
I don't like getting complimented for being a kind person in a sense.
Yeah,
I like being complimented for what I do is beautiful of the people I help, because I don't want to be seen as a kind person in a sense that anyone can be kind. It doesn't have to be on a camera. Your reach on social media doesn't make your act of kindness more kind.
Yeah.
It makes it less genuine, and that can be hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like being complimented for being a normal person who's just kind. I'd rather be complimented for what I do is beautiful rather than me being kind as a person, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like a side of you that with this beef you've got, right? This is beef. This beef here. Is there a side of you that goes, this is good for me? Having this like someone out there I can like...
I always think challenges are a good thing in your life. You know, everything in your life happens for a reason. The challenges you face have been put there to, in a way, test you. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, challenges are good. Like every Messi needs his Ronaldo. Every, Galileo needs his... I don't know who Galileo had, but every Raphael needs his Da Vinci. There's always going to be that. Let's just try something. Let's try something. It's an interesting exercise. Yeah. The guy you mentioned, what's his name again? MD Motivator. So, what are some things you like about him? If they could pick two things, what do you like about him? I just want to see what you say. Like, leave your bias aside. What are takeaways of the way he does? I don't know. I've never watched this guy's content, to be honest. But what are things you like about the way he does his content? If you just not him as a person, but the way he operates.
Well, I do think at least he is doing something kind, even if he isn't the best person. At least he's still having a positive effect on
Yep.
others. You know, um,
Is that it? And what about his style? Does he have I don't know, I've never watched his videos. Is he a particular style or like some sort of like thing he does that you like, or is it kind of just same?
pretty much just the
Same.
same.
He's just yeah, really. I gotta go. I'm gonna look after this. I'm probably gonna have a little go down the rabbit hole of
Have a gaze.
what-
Oh, you'll go down the rabbit hole. So many people. It is quite disingenuous, though. A lot of it, I can feel a lot of. There's a video he did where Kim Kardashian walks into a room and just gives them a car and gives them a trip to Disney, and then kind of just like walks away. That's so disingenuous. I'd rather give someone a lifetime experience or give someone who really needs it. You know, I don't help people unless they really need it, I think. You know, because...
So like a lottery, it's more like there's a genuine need for assistance. And
there's a genuine need for assistance. I look at everyone I help and research behind it, and I find it quite powerful. I do all this myself.
Yeah.
You know, I do everything myself. I edit my videos myself on my phone.
Oh, on your phone.
Yes, and people are like, oh, you should get a laptop. Like, how are you going to grow your social media? And I'm like, no, like, I've done it on my phone on an editing app that costs like $10 a month. Yeah.
That's wild. That's actually really good. And that's good. That's actually good to know because there are creators out there who probably think, oh, I need to have a laptop or a fancy this, fancy that. And if anyone listening, $10 a month, get your phone, you can do it, you know?
Oh, yeah, your iPhone is the greatest tool for, you know, I find it a bit more actually genuine as well filming on an iPhone sometimes. The fact that, you know, I like hide it on my chest and people can't see and it's not as obvious. Yeah.
What's gone wrong? What are the dark moments of your career, social media? What have there been any spicy moments where you were like worried for your own safety or the safeties around you? Has anything gone wrong for you in that? Has it always been good?
I'm just having a think. It's always been fairly good. I think it can be hard to cope with the negativity and cope of the situations of the people I help, you know. Yeah, it can be quite heartbreaking with what I do. I think that's the hardest thing is trying to be there for the families I help, but also distance myself to be mentally stable and okay about it. I think that's the biggest challenge, yeah.
Okay, so it's more like...
And I think the hardest thing is, like, always trying to make a bigger impact than last time. It's not easy, but I want to. So I want to put the next video out there to be cooler or better than the last one.
Okay.
You know, and I'm challenged by that. I'm challenged by the fact that it can be hard in Australia to bless people to an extent. Like, of course, I'm going to do stuff in my own country, but like, I'll get hated on for doing stuff outside here sometimes, and I want to go outside to see that part of the world that does experience like real poverty, you know, and that's where I want to go next for sure.
Yeah, it's actually...
So it's hard to witness, but I do. I want to go to Africa, India, like, to bless people over there because they're earning $50 a month at most. And
Actually, and to be honest, like, for my cynical mindset, no one's done that yet, really, have they? Like, yes, they've done it kind of a little bit.
I went to Bali, to the areas near the like volcano eruption there, and I gave a family $300. $300. I sometimes I compare it like I've helped a homeless person here with $300, and I'm sure they'll probably spend it on drugs. Like, being honest, I went over there, gave $300, and I had a family of 5 people earning $50 a month, and the dad just dropped onto the floor with his hands all like filthy and like all like hurt, and he just like dropped onto the floor, like crying and hugging me for like 10 or 15 minutes and would not stop crying over $300. It's quite beautiful because we can look at that $300 could be used to, you know, go out and buy a new pair of shoes or something. But like to know that this family literally probably saved their life because they don't have food to eat.
Yeah, it's a good point as well. Like, because the money, our money does go a long way, and
So I can feel held back because I love living in Australia, but at the same time I do want to, you know, it's hard here in a way because, you know, it's, as a country, we're so built up. We've got so many backup systems where I do want to help people overseas more, and I have more of a drive and passion for that. And I'll tell you why, because I can do stuff in Australia and so many people will hate on me. So many people will leave negative comments. The second I go to Bali, I have people jumping up and down. I have people crying in my arms, chasing me on the street. Bigger smiles on their faces, kids jumping up and down, you know, go visit an orphanage and kids are running into my arms and hugging and cheering. There is no greater feeling than that joy felt overseas. Like, it's just beautiful.
Wow. I mean, it feels like you just have an authentic desire to go and do that. So what's the plan then? What's the timeline? How long till you go? Like, you got a date in mind?
Well, so I'm doing a video with Coldplay end of next month.
Yep.
And then I will do a video with an NFL team and some people experiencing homelessness over there. And then I'll go to Hawaii to help the victims of the fires. And then I'll come home and then I'll go to Uganda.
Uganda, and so that's how long to timeline do people look for Uganda? You reckon like this next year?
Sooner.
Oh, really?
Maybe
Sooner.
2 months.
And how long will you spend there, you reckon?
Probably 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. Far out.
Yeah. So it's, if I want to do an idea, I'll do it, you know. So like if I have to fly interstate or overseas, I'll make it happen. Yeah.
Beautiful. And for those people out there, we'll wrap this up soon because there's some things happening that we got to deal with. But what's your like message to the people out there? If you leave them any message, especially to the followers who watch me or listen to my audience, and also going into about the fundraiser you're doing at the moment with the beanies and all that. What's the best way they can buy a beanie or give back and help raise the money for?
Well, yeah, so I shaved my hair for Alex, who I took to meet Travis Barker, who passed away. So with these beanies, 100% goes to charity. So MIB Agents, which is like a charity kind of foundation, and they've opened a Alex Music Fund, where so every beanie purchase will go to that. The profits from the beanies will go directly to that, and you can buy a beanie on my clothing website, which you can find on all my socials pretty easily. The link in my bios. I don't know. I think if I have a message to anyone, like, it's that quote to me, like, nobody made a greater mistake than he who gave nothing because he had little. Is so powerful, as well as like live every day like it's your last, because you don't know how short your life is, and none of the materialistic things you take to your grave, well, you can't take them to your grave. You can take memories, you can take the people you help, the impact you leave behind. Like, I live every day like it's my last, but not thinking I'm gonna die. It's weird.
No, it's cool. It's beautiful.
You know, like, I just want to help as many people as I can. And
there you go. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for being on the podcast.
Of course,
I appreciate you taking the time out. I know you're a busy man and you got things to do,
of course.
Stay in touch and make sure everyone check out his social media if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure you probably already have, but definitely check it out. And I really appreciate getting to know who you are deep, because I'll be honest, I didn't really know. I've seen you vicariously through social media, but I didn't really know who you are as a person. So getting to see this side of you has actually, you've inspired me quite a bit to keep going. You know, I'm an old buck now, but you know, I still got a little bit of energy in me, so you know, give back.
Well, I see me when I'm 70 still doing this, and that's crazy. Weird old guy on social media spreading kindness, but reality probably is I don't ever want to retire from this, even if I'm 80.
Yeah.
If I can still do it, I'm gonna do it somehow. It's just my passion, you know. Like,
That's beautiful, though.
I don't know. I do.
Not many people have that.
Yeah.
Man. Like, not many people get to, like, the key to success is not making hundreds of millions of dollars, but making enough to financially stabilize yourself and also do what you actually want to do. I mean, I think it's like, I think the statistics show it's like 2 in 100 people do what they actually want to do in life.
Wow.
Like, even it might be even smaller, maybe 1 in 100. How crazy is that?
Yeah. I say, what is the point of living life if you're not doing what you love, because you only get one? Like, that is something I've come to the realization that all those kids who bullied me, everyone who made fun of me, is gonna die one day. You know, and they aren't a good person for making fun of me. And a lot of them haven't had the fucking courage to speak up and apologize, but they'll ask for help. Like, I think, yeah, you need to live to chase your dreams. You need to live to be vulnerable and to be open up and be strong. Because I believe anxiety is such a thing that can be broken for an individual by putting themselves out there. And I think that's the only way you can cure anxiety, is genuinely to put yourself out there and do the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the only way you can cure, like, social anxiety is to literally force yourself to do it so it can cause the opposite effect.
Yeah, it's the cause and effect of being like the yes theory, being uncomfortable, seeking discomfort is the ultimate cure to all the suffering of the world, and that people don't realize that at all. Actually, what you just said, I'm not being rude. I want to get my phone out because I want to read something because I think you'd find this interesting. I saw this the other day, and it kind of touches on what you're saying. Let me get it up, and I'll read it out to you. So, where is it? Here it is. So, this is a guy called Justin Welsh.
Wait, so 43
Street, yeah.
Street, yeah? Let me just, all right.
This is a guy called Justin Welsh. He's a solopreneur. He makes $5 million a month just on his own, no one else. And he's all about personal branding. He said this recently. He said, promote yourself online every single day. So your work, your brand, your opinions, how you think, and people will either love you, so your customers, they hate you, who cares? They will join you, your network. They'll follow you, potential students, or they ignore you, and they already are ignoring you. People in life are already ignoring you. People that don't know you are ignoring you. And I think you, Sam, embody that more than anyone. These points I've looked at, I think you embody that more than anyone. And I just want to say, keep up the great work. We are watching very carefully now, and it's been an honor to have you on the podcast. And yeah, I look forward to watching your content more intensely and seeing how you go. And I wish you all the best, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for having me.
So much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All good.